it's Nicole and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I want to talk about these Cycnoches orchids. So a couple of weeks ago, I made a video that showed I'm having trouble with some of my Catasetums. One of those Catasetums was my fault because I watered too early. So that's something that I'll be more careful with in the future. The other Catasetum was just slow to push roots out, but it looks like it's doing just fine. Now what I realized is that two of the orchids that I'm having issues with, where I believe I treated them just right, it's Cycnoches orchids. So I want to talk about what we can do here to try to figure this out. So this Cycnoches cross is the Richard Brandon SVO2 crossed with the Cycnoches Marin Gleason SVO. This one has not pushed out any roots on me, as you can see here. It's in a sphagnum moss setup. This cane came broken. It had this piece at the very top. I saved it in case it will sprout anything, but it hasn't, so I'm going to get rid of it. However, if you take a closer look, you can see that these growths are coming in and they're growing. So, you know, I was stumped by these. I reached out to Sunset Valley Orchids and I never heard back, so then I ended up reaching out to the Catasetum master, Stefan Van Kampen-Lewis, and I sent him a video of these and he gave me some good advice. So what I want to do in this video is just show you how they're doing now, and then I'll do an update after making some changes to see if they survive or not. So for this Catasetum orchid, it looks like everything might be okay. So it's just really slow. I've already started watering. I was worried about how the back bulb is sort of desiccating from the top. This was already broken, so I think it was stressed, but a good sign is that this growth is getting larger. I'm gonna keep watering this guy. Hopefully those roots don't rot, but we'll see how it goes. Stefan made an interesting mention when I reached out to him, and he told me that Cycnoches are trickier because they tend to die pretty easily, and in cultivation they may not last as long, and in the wild their lifespan is short. So these guys are much more finicky, but I'm on a quest to figure this out. I don't lose orchids very often, so I want to make sure I can get these guys settled in. All right, moving into Brown's Choice. This is the Cycnoches Richard Brandon SVO crossed with the Cycnoches Swan Cascade Best Select. Guys, this orchid is so beautiful. It's a wish list orchid and I don't want it to die. So as we can see here, this orchid has rotted. So Stefan told me that I could probably just pull that off and then just remove the rotten part. Yep, totally, ugh. Yeah, it's rotten. Told me to remove it and then said let it dry for a day, which I will. And then he said let's see if it pushes out a new growth and then water as normal. So I don't know if I should be removing that, but I'll probably leave that little node alone. But he said to take that off. He was absolutely right. This is rotten. It pushed out one root, and when I watered, that root died. I'm trying to see if I could find it. Nope, you can't. Oh, here it is. You could sort of see it. It was the only root that pushed out, but look at how desiccated this bulb is. I didn't want to leave it that way. So it's like, what do? Do you just let it starve, or do you give it water? I give it water, and that one root died. This back bulb is completely gone. This back bulb is and that new bulb was just like meh. So long story short, I'm gonna remove it. I'm gonna let it dry another day, and then I'm just gonna water, and we're gonna see how it goes. My main confusion is with new roots, they tend to die right when you have moisture. However, it could be that maybe they're a little desperate when they come out and they can survive because they do need the hydration. Who knows, but we shall see. So today is July 18th. I'm gonna see how this goes and give an update to you guys in the next couple of weeks. So we'll see if these guys make it. My fingers are crossed. Hey guys, it's been about a month and I've got some updates to share with you. So when we last saw this Richard Brandon cross with Marin Gleason, we actually got a growth that came in. So I kept watering this guy. It had 2 growths. The last time I showed you, it was about this size. This growth, I'm not sure if it's gonna make it, but the second growth has grown and we've got some roots now. So we're seeing it on the bottom, we're not seeing it on the sides, but this one basically took a really long time to grow its root system. And I just basically kept it moist. I followed Stefan Van Kemp and Lewis's feedback here, and so far it's working out great. And my theory with watering, even though the roots weren't available or long enough, is that they're probably growing and they need the water, and they're establishing to this wet system as they grow. So that's what I'm thinking. I could be wrong, but that's my theory. But so far this one's gonna make it. Next one is Brown's Choice. So Brown's Choice had a growth, rotted off. I took it off the last time I made an update, and I can confirm that the very back bulb completely desiccated. This continues to desiccate. There's really not much life in there. I've been keeping it moist, but to no avail. I see no growths or anything coming in. Let me get a light on to make it a bit brighter. So there is nothing happening here. So I'll probably lose this orchid. I'm gonna keep the medium moist just in case something happens, and if something does happen, I will let you guys know. But that was very unfortunate. What have I learned about Cycnoches, and what can we do to fix this? So I spoke to a lot of different people on YouTube, on Instagram, and I got a mixture of folks who killed their Cycnoches because it was too dry in the winter, and then I heard a lot of folks say that their Cycnoches died when they gave it a little bit of water. So there was a big conflict between, do you give these guys a little bit of water? Do you let them get bone dry? So this is a very sensitive area for Cycnoches orchids. A friend from Instagram, Alex, is a part of the Manhattan Orchid Society. She reached out to Fred on similar concerns, and he gave a recommendation, which I thought was pretty cool, and I'll share it with you guys. But Fred basically said, there's a tip in the winter while growing these where you can keep the root zone humid by getting a cup of water like so, and then just putting the pot right over that cup of water. So what we're doing here is we're giving the orchid humidity. We're not giving it water per se, so it won't rot, but we're giving it some ambient humidity in the winter. So that could be a possible way to make sure that these orchids are okay during the winter. So this one took forever to give me roots. Turned out it was totally fine. It was just delayed, but this could have probably given more roots come out a little bit stronger where it wasn't, where the medium wasn't sopping wet. So less chance of rot. With Brown's Choice over here, we could have done the same thing, just in a larger cup of water. I think we would have had better results because remember, this guy had 1 root and it rotted the minute I gave it water. So that's something to think about. I'd say that from what I've learned with Cycnoches orchids is they're harder than Catasetums. Catasetums are much more forgiving, much easier to grow. And if I buy these orchids again, I do things much differently. So what I do is, if I get a new Cycnoches, I'm gonna keep it in the original pot, and I'm just gonna pot moss around it to make sure that it has its old root system that'll help it as it grows. And then I'll water when the roots are long enough. Now, I think the tip with the glass of water is helpful because then it'll bring tons of humidity but not rot the roots. So that's something I'm going to consider. So yeah, basically if I were to do this again, I would not cut off all the roots. And that's only for Cycnoches orchids. Catasetums are they're much more easy to grow. But I wanted to share these tips with you guys because I've struggled with these guys. I have not killed this yet, but I think it might be on the brink. I'll keep you updated on the monthly update if it makes it or not. So far, it's not looking like it will, but who knows. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more orchid content like this. Talk to you soon, guys.